That's great. Thank you, Scott.
It looks like everything is working. Scott, I'll let you confirm, but I've got the YouTube link up and I can see everybody's heads like in cameras on the YouTube link. So,
okay. We can start. Okay, thank you. And welcome everyone to the September 19th, 2024 Guelph Police Services Board meeting. We have received regrets for this meeting from Chair Peter McSherry and Board Member Councillor Phil Holt. We do have quorum present, so I will therefore call the meeting to order, and we'll now provide our territorial acknowledgement. As we gather, let us take time to reflect on our privilege to live and work in the city of Guelph, a city built over rich Indigenous histories. We are guests here, and we should reflect upon the responsibility to care for this land, the people who live here today, and the generations to come. If our actions today can move us towards reconciliation, we should take pause and make those decisions with intention and gratitude. This place we call Guelph has served as traditional lands and a place of refuge for many peoples over time, but more specifically, the Attawandarong and the Haudenosaunee. This land is held as the treaty lands and territory with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Guelph lies directly adjacent to the Haldimand Tract and is part of a long-established traditional hunting ground for the Six Nations of the Grand River. Many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples who have come from across Turtle Island call Guelph home today. Are there any declarations of conflict? Seeing none, thank you. We have two community account resolutions. Mayor Guthrie, could you bring those forward, please?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. The $500 request for the annual police service members fundraising golf tournament be approved, and for $1,400 from the same account, the community account, go towards the October 7th presentation on trafficking and intimate partner violence. Both of those be approved by myself and Ajay, seconding it.
Thank you. Given that there are only a few of us, any opposition? Seeing none, okay, that's carried. There are no presentations or delegations today. You have in your package the minutes of the July 18th, 2024 meeting. May I have a motion to approve those minutes? Ajay? Thank you. Seconder, Mayor Guthrie? And any opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you. I would now ask that we have an approval of the agenda. Mayor Guthrie, would you move the approval of the agenda? And Ajay, would you second? Any opposition? You will note that we also have a consent agenda, and I would just point out that one of the items will also be, it does include an approval to a variance of the capital account. There is no change in the overall amount. It's just a variance of the items within the budget. So is there any member requesting that any item be pulled from the consent agenda? Seeing none, then may I have a motion? Ajay, would you, or Mayor Guthrie, thank you. And Ajay, would you second? Any opposition to approval of the consent agenda? Seeing none. Okay, thank you. All right, Chief Covey, over to you for your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. So I wanted to start off our monthly report this week by, first of all, one of the other items in the consent agenda was just an acknowledgement of Sergeant Andrew McLaughlin, who was promoted effective June 23rd this year. And I just wanted to recognize for the board and recognize Sergeant McLaughlin for that commitment to taking on a leadership role. We're certainly appreciative of that and look forward to seeing Andrew grow in that new role. I also wanted to, just for the community and the board's advisement, introduce our new finance manager, Mr. Sean Hewitt. Sean brings a great deal of finance experience, and we look forward to working with Sean in the future. You can just give a wave if you want, Sean. You're there. Good. Now, with that said, I wanted to start off this month giving a bit of an update for our community with respect to our downtown. And I know that Andrew is going to be joining us, Inspector Goody, to provide a bit of that update. And what we want to do, we've talked a lot lately, especially this year, with the addition of a dedicated impact worker to work with Mark and Connor. We've spent literally hundreds of proactive patrols in the downtown. But I think it's important for us to share with our community as we support, and we do have a lot of proactive things that we're putting in place to support our downtown. We're equally committed to ensuring the public safety of that shared space. So I wanted to give Andrew the floor for a few minutes to give the board and the citizens an update, kind of what some of the work we're doing on both sides, both proactive as well as some of the enforcement work that happens in the downtown on a daily basis. So Andrew, if you're ready, the floor is yours for a few minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chief, and through Madam Chair. Thanks for the opportunity. Just want to provide some high-level updates as to how we're doing with our downtown. A while ago, I had the opportunity to present, and we discussed that the team that we have down there really believes in the theme of supporting our downtown, and they continue to go out day after day and put extra efforts into both reactive and proactively patrol to ensure that public safety is met in our community. I wanted to start just with a little bit addressing, there's been some discussion lately about open drug use, and I wanted to just highlight some of the things that our investigators have done to curb drug use. So as an example, since January 1st, our drug and beat teams have participated in approximately 18 CDSA or drug-related investigations that relate to the downtown. Now, that doesn't mean those investigations are specifically occurring in the downtown, but they are directed toward those who are supplying drugs who live in our downtown community or access our downtown community. As a result of those investigations, here's just some basic statistics. Over 35 people have been arrested. Over 65 CDSA charges have been laid, including trafficking charges. Significant quantities of various drugs, including cocaine, meth, fentanyl, and carfentanil have been seized, amongst others, and over $35,000 in currency has been seized. In addition, 2 handguns and several replica handguns have been seized as well. And this falls on the heels of a project that was completed yesterday, and the media release went out today highlighting the great work that those units are doing to ensure public safety in regards to drug use. Continually, moving on, our members in the downtown continue to interact on a proactive basis with both businesses by attending community events or also just putting some extra directed patrol into our downtown. Connor and Mark continue to either walk or pedal around on our streets to make sure that everybody's doing well. As the chief mentioned, Mark and Kim literally respond to hundreds of calls on an impact basis so that we're connecting with individuals and supplying them with resources so that they're doing better in the downtown as well. To date, we have had 804 positive community contacts. And when I say positive community contacts, those are community contacts in which our members are going out proactively engaging in meetings, community events, etc. That 804 has been across the entire city. 266 have occurred in our downtown. So approximately 1/4 or a little over 1/4 of our community contacts occur within our downtown. In addition, directed patrol. So directed patrol is where, instead of just putting an officer on foot downtown and walking, without any really intended purpose, we actually take the concerns that the citizens bring forward and we direct them into those areas to provide some extra patrol. And that could be anything from walking the stairwells in a parkade to some extra patrols in St. George's Square. Across the city to date, 1,178 directed patrols have taken place. In downtown, 935 of those have occurred. So over 3/4 of our directed patrol occurs within our downtown. And really, if you look in the totality, 60% of our community engagement across the city occurs in our downtown. So we can see that when we're putting sufficient resources in there, we're making a difference, and we really are trying to both proactive and reactively engage with our community to ensure public safety. I just wanted to add on, one last thing. And it came out yesterday. It was part of the media release that came out in regards to an incident. We want to just really encourage that the members of the public, if you witness criminal activity or if you need assistance, please call the police. We have investigative tools that can assist with investigating things at the forefront immediately. Our response times in the downtown in particular are under 3 minutes. So we are available to get there in a timely manner and investigate appropriately. So we really encourage that. Please call us and we will be there to help. Pending any questions, Chief, that's what I've got for you.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. That was excellent information. Questions from the board? Mayor Guthrie.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. Chief, would any of those results that were just highlighted, would they have been achievable if the board and ultimately council did not approve the budget for the dedicated units and resources in the downtown?
Absolutely not. And I could give you a longer answer, but that is the app. And in fact, and I know the board, we have a staged plan to try to continue to increase that and the enhancement we provide. We could do even more. It's all a function of the resources we have. And the good thing that Andrew mentioned, like basically 900 of our 1,000 proactive patrols are in the downtown. Part of the plan that we've got in place over the coming years, our other neighborhoods deserve that level of care too. So that's what we're trying to do that as well, whether it be traffic or so many other areas. For obvious reasons, our downtown gets the support it requires, but absolutely not. None of it would have been possible without the expansions both last year and in recent years. And I have to add moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Looking ahead then into you have the oversight on the operations. We don't as a board. Do you find then that the resources that have been implemented, which are obviously resulting in some positive engagement and positive arrests, might I add, that's a good thing. Then is that sufficient? Or are you operationally looking to see or need increases based on what we're seeing today?
Yeah, so I would say yes, we will be looking for increases. If you recall, we talked a lot about last year as based on the KPMG report that to get to where we need to be, we needed to grow. We phased that in over the 4-year period. Unfortunately, and you probably recall we talked about this last year, I would have been much more comfortable if it was a 2 or 3 year phase in versus 4, because essentially we're gonna be in 27 where we should have been in 23. So I'm going to talk about when we go through the strat plan a little bit here in a few minutes, where we've demonstrated an investment, we have experienced a return on that as far as better response times, lower overall crime severity. But short answer, I believe the investment should be accelerated from 4 to 2 or 3 years.
Thank you. My final question through you, Madam Chair, to the chief or maybe to Andrew is, one of the things that I noticed, and I just happened to read about it, I think it was today, that press release about the charges and that you were just highlighting. about that. The investigations that I think occurred, said in the press release, something it started in the summer or something like that, and finally the warrants were kind of put out and stuff. The last little bit had the pictures of all the drugs and the gun replicas and stuff like that. What's interesting to me is often, I hear it, and I'm sure you hear it too, Chief. Like the common thread of what are you guys doing? Like. And that one release today just goes to show that there's ongoing investigations that are happening behind the scenes, and that you and your team are doing things. It's just that they're ongoing investigations, and they can't be said out loud at the time, right? Until they're complete. So, can you just reassure the community of that like there's stuff that happens in the moment that you can take care of, but there's stuff that's happening 24/7, building to a moment later on that may result in something. The narrative that there's nothing going on, or there's a turning a blind eye, or ignoring something, it just doesn't hold true. And can you validate that for everybody?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for recognizing that, because some of the things like today's press release, they're the culmination of a lot of work. So yes, while there are things going that take some time, there's also things in the moment, like yesterday's press release is kind of say inappropriate behavior in the downtown. Andrew just alluded to, like, approximately our average party one response time is under 3 minutes to get to the downtown. That situation, and Andrew can correct me if I'm wrong, but like within 2 or 3 days of us finding out about that situation, we had initiated a response, we had located people, and we had laid charges. So if there's anything that I would like our citizens, and if any of our media partners are listening today, please amplify this in our community. In the moment when things happen, it's so important to call us, because Connor or Mark, they may be dealing with something and may not be there in the moment, but that doesn't mean we don't have resources who can't be deployed to the downtown to address something in the moment. It's so much more effective than sending emails or doing whatever we do. Just call us so we can provide that care for our citizens.
Agreed. Thank you. Madam Chair, just a quick comment then, instead of a question, if that's okay, since we're just finishing the topic off. I just want to thank you and your team for what you're doing. Those stats are staggering. They're staggering, in my view, from both the lens of the good work that the police officers are doing, both proactively and reactively in the moment on some of these issues that are being faced in the downtown. But they're also staggering from the fact that those numbers are high, which clearly states that there's a problem. And the fact that we did actually almost 2 years ago start to put some resources into the downtown was forward thinking to make sure we got a handle on this. Imagine if we were having this discussion today without those resources. So, and the final thing I'll just say is that with the work that our police officers are doing, recognized in the data that was just shared, goes to show that at this level of the service, the issues can only be dealt with so far. Our police officers can only do something to a certain degree. After that, it's to the different parts of the justice system that may not fulfill the desires of what society is looking for in taking care of those situations. But that's not on our police officers. That's not on them. They're doing their job. So I just want to thank you very much for what you're doing. Glad that the board realized we had to proactively do resource allocation there. Let's keep doing what we can, and let's make the case where we can as well to get other other issues that are not of a criminal nature, but we know are a part of some of the things that are being dealt with downtown and other places, advocate for those things to be given help as well. So, and I know that you do that, Chief. So they're still quite staggering. So I appreciate the data and keep the data coming, because it only justifies the good work that you guys are doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Guthrie. Any further comments? And thank you, Andrew, as well, for that report. Very excellent comments. And to the mayor's point, staggering, but it's encouraging to hear the work that you're doing. And again, thank you very much for the work you do. Okay. Anything else on your report, Chief Covey?
No, we'll have discussions coming up here on the strat plan, so that'll be captured in that. Okay.
All right. So I think we could move to the strat plan then. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I wanted to take a few minutes, and I encourage any of our board members, please stop me if you have any questions while I'm going through. Over the last year, we've been working hard to build our strat plan to really set the stage for the next several years, and building upon the work that's been done, as well as all the work that went into building like our KPMG report and an enhancement of the services we provide. You'll note that the majority of our foundational priorities have remained the same. However, this year we've added one, which is investigative excellence. And the reality is where we've really made some improvements, whether it be our downtown or fortifying our response times for our frontline members, our community has a very significant problem when it comes to human trafficking, child exploitation, and other cyber-enabled crimes, including frauds directed most often at our seniors. And so these are areas, to the mayor's point just a few minutes ago, these are areas that require a great deal of work. And as part of our strat plan, we are going to be focusing a great deal on these areas. This is also to support council's recognition in the fall of 23 that intimate partner violence is an epidemic in our community. So our strat plan moving forward is going to greatly enhance, but also the community should expect a great deal more discussion about these issues. These are heinous crimes that are literally victimizing our most vulnerable women, girls, children, and elderly. And we need to talk about it more to have a better understanding. And we need to have a much better ability to educate, proactively prevent, and hold those accountable who are involved in these activities. So that is going to be a very, very key piece of the next several years. All of this is aligned with the growth strategy that we've talked about, and it's aligned with the accelerated growth that I anticipate we may be talking about next month when we present our operational budget. I'm going to go through, I know the board has it in front of them, but I'm going to just touch on a few highlights. I promise I'm not going to read you the strat plan, but overall, as a service, we're very, very fortunate. We enjoy very broad-based support of our citizens. Our citizens continue to express a great deal of satisfaction, and they continually tell us that our police presence and proactive patrols really do enhance their feelings of safety. These are the types of things that we want to continue to enhance the level of care, both to our downtown that we've discussed, but also to all of our other neighborhoods. Over the years, we've talked about traffic enforcement, noise enforcement, so many other areas. These are that we're getting there. One of the key deliverables that I think the community can be proud of, both with the support of the board and council. 5 years ago, we had hit our all-time low as being the 19th safest census metropolitan area. After 5 years of investment and very hard work, we're now back to the top 10. We can all recall a time, I think, when we were 1 or 2, we were first or second, and we got to 19th. We're now back to 8th in the top 10. Our goal is to be the first, to be the safest and healthiest community, but we've come a long way. So that's something that we can be proud of. We've also improved with respect to our response times. To Andrew's point, our proactive community engagement, our wellness support, so many other things have improved in the last 5 years, but we can't become complacent or rest on those improvements, but rather continue to strive for more. For anyone who's going through our strat plan, you'll see a very nice picture of a smiling Connor, as well as Mark. And you know what? I think it's appropriate. Mark and Connor have really become staples in our downtown and supporters of our community. And I want to thank them and Kim and all of our members for the work they do. The public engagement that's gone into building this has included community stakeholders, business leaders, community surveys, downtown surveys, stakeholder meetings. All of this is to set the stage to continue to grow and evolve as we meet the needs of one of the fastest growing cities in the province. If we look to our first foundational priority, community policing. In the last couple of years, we now have our Citizens Police Academy. We have important partnerships with Guelph Wellington Immigrant Services, our community policing page, new video enhancements, you're going to continue to see these evolutions as we move forward. I've said this on a number of occasions, but our goal is for the Guelph Police Service to be the most trusted, effective, innovative police service in the country, and we will continue to do our part to strive for those results. When we look at investigative excellence, the reality is we are still in a position where we are constantly having to ebb and flow between competing priorities. We hope that will minimize as we grow, but important areas, and I'm going to note this again, intimate partner violence, human trafficking, child pornography, internet exploitation of children, and online frauds, they have to be an important area of focus for the next several years moving forward. Community wellness. We look forward to, so we're going to be doing some important work as part of this overall strat plan. We're going to build a dedicated plan on how we can better support and represent our community, working with our members, working with our citizens, led by Inspector Clunas, retired Chief Devon Clunas, who the board has met on a number of occasions before. We want to continue to really represent our city, really understand and better serve the needs and issues that are affecting our citizens. But in a way, we want to be a driving force in our community. How can the Guelph Police Service work to bring our community together, to increase the unity and the resiliency of our citizens? That, as important as the operational areas I just discussed, will continue to be an important area of focus for our service. Operational health and service effectiveness. We can only provide the supports. 350 people help 150,000 navigate life's most difficult moments. And that 150,000 is going to grow to 200,000 in the next 20 years. So to sustain that ability, we need to be supporting our members. The board, our board is leading provincially with respect to the support of our supportive staffing program that happened last year. That is going to help us continue to support our members and our citizens. So that will continue to be an important area of focus, as our greatest asset is the trust of our citizens and our employees. And with those two things, that's how we'll continue to build a strong, sustainable police service. Road safety. I suspect most of our councillors, everyone wants safe roadways. Unfortunately, we often get, we have downtown issues. We have other issues, but an underlying issue in our entire city, people want and deserve safe roadways. So that's another area to ensure that we have an enhanced ability to keep our roadways safe. And finally, our downtown. We've talked at length about our downtown. We are absolutely committed. We have demonstrated that commitment to supporting our downtown. We truly believe a vibrant downtown is the heart of our city, and it's the future of our city. So I think I am very proud, and I can say this without reservation. I truly believe the Guelph Police Service and our members, we have and continue to demonstrate that commitment with respect to the data shared today. I think it's important that we're going to continue to leverage technology and the integration of that, whether it be our Community Safety and Operations Center, whether it be our full adoption of body-worn camera technology to ensure trust and transparency, as well as best evidence and officer safety. We're going to continue to look at how we can incorporate our automatic license plate reader technology, our scan in Guelph technology, where citizens can voluntarily identify if they have cameras that then are available to support major investigations, as well as the implementation of drones for search and rescue in our wooded areas and things like that. So these will continue to be areas of focus. And then finally, I truly believe our leadership with respect to our impact team, the Guelph Police Service, many years led by Inspector Doxey, our members, CMHA, and the invaluable relationship we have with Helen Fishburne. We were pioneers when it came to impact. We'll continue to lead. We have continued to lead by now sponsoring a dedicated impact support worker directed to our downtown. We will continue to do this. And the final part here, metrics to monitor service delivery. I truly believe our citizens deserve that if we are entrusted with the human and financial resources that they supply us, they should expect metrics to show that return on investment. Well, I'm very proud of the annual report we produce. We've seen enhancements, both not only in the detail that's provided, how we've evolved to give even more transparency on our use of force reporting every year, but how we've even evolved how that information is presented to make it more accessible and understandable for our citizens to truly understand. So whether it be crime severity index, response times, citizens' perception of safety, and by that I want to emphasize, yes, our crime severity index has improved, but in addition to what Stats Canada might say the safety of our community is, we want our citizens to feel safe. And so that metrics and the feeling of safety is as important. So those are a very high level of where we're going in the next 4 years. It is aligned with our the enhancement plan developed with our work with KPMG. And with that, Madam Chair, I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Chief Kobe. Any questions? No, I see no questions. Thank you. It's a very comprehensive report and good plan. I certainly appreciate your work and the work of the team that's put this together. It's a lot of work, and certainly the extensive consultation is an excellent aspect of it. So thank you very much. I think if there are no other questions, may I have a motion then to approve the 2024-2027 strategic plan? Mayor Ajay, Mayor Guthrie, thank you. Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Okay, it's approved. Thank you so much. All right, the next item is the 2025 capital budget confirmation. And I see it's noted as an information item, but there's actually an approval, right? I think.
Well, no, it's so it's
or not.
No, there is not this way. So it's presented for your information this month.
Okay.
Next month, it'd be approved at next month's meeting. Super. So there's no pressure here today. This is just an information. And I can walk through it. I know you've got the report. I promise not to read it to you, but I can walk through the confirmation board report if you'd like.
Okay, maybe some highlights. Yeah.
Sure. As you can see in the report, this is a continuation of last year's capital budget that was approved as part of the multi-year budget. The material changes noted are all funded in our capital reserve. So any of the modifications pointed out here, that's already funded in the existing capital reserve. There will not be operating asks with respect to the capital reserve or these funding requirements here. The only two material changes that are noted are in relation to mandated equipment acquisitions that have to happen by April next year in relation to the new Community Policing and Community Safety and Policing Act that just came into effect, and that's the regulation in relation to adequate and effective policing and active attacker incidents. So as you can see here, different levels of body armor, different equipment for our tactical and canine teams to respond to those types of situations. This is not discretionary. The law requires that we make these investments, and they have to be made by April 25th or April 2025. And sorry, Daryl or Andrew, somebody who can see, give me a thumbs up. It's April 2025, right? April 1?
Yes, but we are doing the equipment, the training this fall, which is why the adjustment was required. So we had to get the equipment in advance to actually do the training.
Yeah, so it has to be in our members' possession and ready to use by the spring, which is why we have to start the acquisition process now. The only other material change is an HVAC, a chilling tower piece of equipment that has to be replaced. And we have to thank our city colleagues, because our city partners have done a lot of work kind of getting ready for that process, as well as working closely with our members to kind of lead kind of the 10-year process, et cetera. As I indicated, the reserve balance funds all of these things. And we've highlighted, we're not asking for the board's approval or anything like that. We're just highlighting in the next 10 years in the long term, we are going to have conversations about training requirements, et cetera. Our 2026 budget includes funds to undertake a proper needs assessment, space assessment study, working with city staff to look at leveraging existing needs and resources as we build that for the long-term aspect. But that work will start in 2026. And with the exception of that, I'll stop there, Madam Chair, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Chief Copey. Any questions of the Chief on? Okay, to be clear, you're not requesting a motion today.
No,
right.
Well, I see Leslie has her hand. Leslie, did you have your hand?
Sorry, I was muted. Based on the report in the package, it is asking for confirmation from the board. So okay. I would say I would take the blame. It is my fault that on the agenda, I should have noted that as decision rather than information. So if you go to page 37 of the report or of the package, it shows the recommendation for the board to approve.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, any questions from the board? No questions. So could I have a motion then, Jay, to approve the confirmation of the 2024-2027 capital budget is set out, and the 2024-2023 capital forecast is set out? Yes? Okay. Second, Mayor? Any objections? Yes.
I'm happy to second. If I could just have a question before the vote.
Absolutely. Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering about timing. We almost every year we have these presentations around this time, but then we don't approve now. We accept this as sort of the draft until it gets closer to the budget, and then we approve at that time. I was just wondering, is that what you're thinking about doing more for the operating side than the capital side? Or are you looking just for I knew coming into the meeting, you're looking for approval on the capital now, but are you also going to be doing approval for operating right away?
So my assumption was that next month we will be presenting operating.
Yeah.
At which point you'll be able to understand the request. We would be looking for a November approval for operating. So you'll be presented operating next month in October, and then once having been presented, consideration, et cetera, then approval in November.
Okay, and I guess where I just had a little bit of a question of, and this is my own terms, a little bit of a disconnect, is that sometimes like operating and capital can be quite linked together, right? So, you know, I'm not saying this is in our budget right now, but you hire, you purchase 20 new vehicles. The operating costs for that is going to be higher, or another fleet manager or another mechanic, you know. So that's the operating side. So I'm just wondering how much of a linkage is connected between today's vote that's asking for full approval compared to the discussion that's going to happen on operating, and whether or not it might be better to not actually approve today, but to refer this to the final moment when we can approve both operating and capital at the same time, after we have gone through capital, and then we go through operating, and then in November we approve both, instead of jumping ahead and approving today capital without sort of the conversation of operating at the same time. I'm not seeing anything that is of a worry at all. I want to make that very clear. But I also am looking at just wanting to be a little bit maybe better informed when those two things are together. So, Madam Chair, I just wondered if maybe, first of all, I'll ask that as a question. Is there anything against what I'm suggesting that would cause concern to you or staff, Chief? I'll ask that question first.
I'll let Sean, I think the mayor presents a valid point as far as if there's any operating impacts for capital. The only thing that is time sensitive, and you've approved it as part of the consent, was the transfer so we can start those acquisitions as the Q2. Yep. So that we're good there.
That's okay. There's no issue with that. It's for 2025, right? So
yeah, I certainly can understand that perspective. Sean,
Yeah. Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, you're correct. There may be, depending on what the debate or the decisions are on operating, some capital impacts, and my intention was to ensure that those are identified, and therefore if there's a need to add them to the capital budget or to change the funding over, depending on the size of them, that would be identified. So I think what you're proposing and approving them both at the same time would work just fine. Yeah, but again, in the operating budget, anything that we put forward that has a capital impact, we will make sure is identified for you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Then with that answer, I'm wondering if it would be okay if Ajay, you were the one that moved approval of the capital. I'm the one that was basically seconding it. If you could remove that moving, and I can remove my seconder on that. That way, it's not on the floor. I'll go to the chair if that's okay with the chair.
Yep. It's okay with me. Is that all right with you, mover? All right. Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
So then,
and then maybe I will. I'm happy to move the motion, but just to remove the words for approval, and to add, if Leslie can kind of work with us on the fly, and that the capital budget be referred to the operating discussions, to the upcoming operational 2025 operational budget discussions, period.
Okay. Is that all right with you, Leslie?
Sure, we can definitely make that happen. So you want to do, because right now it's a very long one, right? It's that the board confirms the capital budget is approved October 19th, 2023. And then rather than the forecast piece, so we'll take that part out and say, and that the board defers approval of the capital forecast until until
the upcoming 2025 operational discussions, operational budget discussions.
25. Perfect.
Okay, I just want to clarify. So you're agreeable, Mayor Guthrie, to confirming the 2024 to 2027 capital budget, as approved last year, but including amended amounts.
Another way of doing this, Madam Chair, and sorry, Leslie, I should have thought of this, is we could just have a motion that says that the following motions be referred.
Right.
That's a great idea.
Why
Yeah,
don't we
but
do
then-
that? That the following
I think that
motions be referred to the upcoming 2025 budget discussions. And then you can just lay out the three that are existing.
Okay.
If
And then
that's okay.
we don't, then we can communicate with the city all in one letter, so we're not confusing things for them either. That's great.
Yeah,
Right.
it might be better. And you know how, this is a tough year, right? For affordability and we have to look at everything together. So I think it's a wiser move. And it seems like everyone, even staff here are on board with that. So I would move that then it's a referral of the motions to there. If Ajay is okay with that, he can second it.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to
Everybody-
you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Everybody clear? So, all right. Any objections to that motion then? Seeing none, that's carried. Okay. So
Thank you.
that's dealt with. Thank you. All right. Is there any other new business? Seeing none. Okay, thank you. Then the next meeting will be on Thursday, October 17th, beginning at 2:30. And thank you. We'll see you then. I need a mover and a seconder to approve adjournment. Thank you, Mayor Guthrie. Ajay, any objections? No. Okay. Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Take care.